Greetings, YouTube. Welcome to the third Shoot You Sir podcast featuring creator, editor, and article writer Graham Pike.
Hello.
And myself, Sly and Graham from Scenario Gaming. And a quick agenda. We've got a little giveaway we're going to talk through. We've got what we've been playing. So a little bit of news, some on-topic and off-topic stuff, which is usually guitars and music. So without further ado. So we've got a little giveaway going on. If you want to get your article or write an article and get it into the July's issue of Shoot You Sir, submit it via www.slysr.com/shoot-you-sir. There we go, got it right. And then there's a little section in there where you can put a message and your email address and your name. Stick it in there. Graham and I will go over it. We'll go through any submissions that are there. We'll pick a winner. Winner gets in the July issue of Shoot You Sir. And we also have my copy of Shikondo Soul Eater on Nintendo Switch that we'll be giving away. And yeah, good luck. And
comes with all sorts of nice little bits of artwork, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I also noticed that, talking about community, I saw that you forwarded an email from one of the subscribers about they're going to look into their collection for another time potentially. It's just a nice gesture, regardless if they do or not. It's just a really nice gesture.
Yeah, we do get some nice emails from people, thanking us for doing it, which is a good reason to carry on, apart from enjoying doing it, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to get, even if it's just an email saying thanks or, they enjoyed a particular part of it. It's good. So yeah, it's nice to have some support and confirmation.
Quite a few comments on the YouTube where people have seen a review or a video that we've done and they've just said, "Oh, I've gone on and I've downloaded the latest Shoot You Sir." It's like, "Oh, brilliant, nice one." So it's always good to get new people.
Multi-platform.
Sorry?
Multi-platform.
Yeah, exactly. Farming the internet. Yeah, thanks to everyone that's reading and subscribing. So what have you been playing, Graham?
This week I have mostly been in. That's from fast show. Sorry.
That's all right.
I've been watching those old fast shows. Anyway, two games I've played over the last few days is Amiga 5, which is an unusual horizontal scrolling shoot 'em up, only available on the 360 as a download. Arcade Live thing. I think you had a quick look at it while you're up a few weeks ago. Basically, it's horizontal, but you've got really large sprites. They're humanoid, going sort of left to right, and you've got a twin stick. You use one for moving around, the other one for directing your fire, and you just use the shoulder buttons for special attacks. But yeah, I mean, it's not your typical traditional shoot 'em up in the fact it's slow. It scrolls quite slowly, and you've got a lot of freedom of movement. In fact, the play screen is actually higher. There's more to it than just one single screen. You can go up and down a bit. So, although sometimes you're limited by the terrain, but it's graphically it's really good. I mean, it's got some nice 3D artwork. It's nice and sharp, and also you can see people in the background coming towards you, and quite a few they'll jump like a big robot or some sort of creature will just jump into the screen. Then you've got to bump them off. So it's good to keep your eye on, because sometimes they'll just jump exactly where you are. So if you see them coming, you can get out of the way before they stomp you. It's quite a short game. I think there's only about 4 levels on it, but it's quite hard. It's not a pushover. But yeah, that was quite good. And I also played the last couple of days at Aero Fighters 2, like the old Neo Geo classic, which I always think is a little bit Raiden-like, but not on the same level as Raiden quality-wise, I would say. But it's still a good game.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it back in the day because, with the Neo Geo being such a fight 'em up or, sort of fighting game, it was nice to get anything other than that. But I know I always enjoyed sort of shoot 'em ups, and that was a good. I mean, looking at it now, it does look a bit. Obviously, it looks dated. It doesn't look as good as even some of the Neo Geo games at the time. But it still looks nice, and it plays well. It's nice to have a full screen vertical. Which I quite enjoy. I've been enjoying playing that again for a while. It's dead basic, it's just shoot, bomb, avoid, and that's it really. And but yeah, it's quite a challenge, but it's a nice learning curve. It's not like you've been playing for 2 seconds and suddenly you're inundated. It gives you quite a lot of time. And I think there's 8 difficulty levels, so it's quite, and one's ridiculously easy. But that's it. You just find, a couple of times, you can find out where it's a challenge. There's no point breezing through a game, but then again, you don't want to be sort of beating your fist against the screen either. So it's like getting that balance, isn't it? So you feel like you've worked, but not, annoyingly so. So yeah, but yeah.
I like all the wacky characters on it.
Yeah, you got wacky characters. You've got some great music. The music's really good. I used to have the music separately, and it's some pretty good stuff on there, actually, if you give it a listen. But I suppose you could get it on YouTube, OST, they call it, don't they? Original soundtrack. But I haven't listened to it. But at the time, it had some unusual dancey stuff as well as. I'm not a big fan of like dance music, but actually it was really well done, being quite wacky and very Japanesey. So yeah, the music's good. So the music's much better perhaps than the graphics are. And but no, I would quite enjoy playing that again. It's nice to dig out some of the old ones rather than playing, And and in a way, it's nice to take on a game which isn't ridiculously hard every now and then as well.
Those hamster ports stretch really well on the screen, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't warp too much, which is
no.
Really
Well, it was full screen on the Neo. It's not
Oh.
like those. You don't like you have to you put it on full screen. It was a full screen.
Oh, was it?
game.
Sorry, I didn't realise.
Yeah,
I've got it. I've played it.
Yeah, it's a full screen game. It might be. I've seen the YouTube videos of it, and there seemed to be like a tiny thin blackboard on it. I suppose initially it would have been full screen on a 4:3 television rather than a 16:9 modern television. But I don't know if I had to adjust it to 16:9 or what. But no, it doesn't look stretched or. It's just a hamster.
Yeah, they usually keep the settings when you've stretched them the first time.
Well, I played it on the Neo Geo as well, and it looked really good there as well. So yeah, it's a good little game.
Yeah.
So mostly I've been playing that. So what about you?
A lot of Blazing Star.
Still going on that one, yeah. It's a good game.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've really gotten into that one a hell of a lot. Tried a bit of Polestar, so I'm pushing myself to play that. I think I'm appreciating it a bit more now as well. So I started using the same aircraft that you get on Blazing Star that's in Polestar. So I was like, let me try and get used to that and then move over to Polestar, which is a different game. And then
very different. I think Polestar, as we said before, much more R-type. We have to really be in the right position most of the time. Blazing Star, a little bit of that, but it's more of a traditional horizontal shoot 'em up, isn't it, rather than a R-type.
Polestar does look good. It does look really good when you're playing it. Distractingly good, because like, oh crap, I've been destroyed again.
It looks great, and the music's brilliant. Even on that very first bit, where you go into that space station, the music's really good on that. I think it's really, considering what the technology was at the time, 16-bit. It was very good for its age, but even now, I still think it sounds good. It hasn't got the high definition, I suppose, but it's just really well composed.
Yeah,
they really know what they were doing, those guys, I think.
They're really well done. I've also been playing a couple of the Strikers games. I think the 1944 game that we play on that Capcom arcade stadium made me really want to play some of those sort of World War type shmups.
Yeah.
I got one on the Japanese Switch store. It was called Strikers 1999, but once it had downloaded, it said Strikers 1945 3 for Switch. I was like, okay. It's definitely the more modern looking of them, but where you can stretch the screen on some of them, you can't stretch it at all, and it is just the thin strip down the middle, so it's not quite as fun to play. And the other one I've been playing is the Aleste collection, and I think I sent you my reviews for that. I did some mini reviews for the older console ones, which do not hold up at all. And then the M2 Creators one, which is really good, but does look very basic. That's the only one that I find for me is worth playing, and that I'll go back to. The others, I played them to review them briefly, and then I won't ever go back to play them again, I don't think, unless I accidentally click on it or something. But
I suppose some people think they're just like being glamour holes, but I just think, if you've got art, like I've got an R-type, where you can either have it original graphics, or you can actually play its own game. And then you can change during the game. They want R-type dimensions. I can't remember what it's called now. But that's on the 360. But why would I want to play it looking like 8-bit when I can play it looking, fairly modern with nice shading and stuff like that? Having said that, that game that you recently put on Sinara Gaming, 1944 Loop Master, I was watching that. I still think that looks really nice. It's got a nice look to it. It's 2D sort of period sort of look, but I just think it really looks nice, and it played well as well.
Plays
very
really
enjoyable type of game. That's a good one, that one, I I'd recommend that to anybody that's a shoot 'em up fan, really.
Definitely. It's one of the better ones to play 2-player as well, because we play quite a few 2-player, and some are just really
you
tough.
get put off by the other person, don't you?
Exactly. But I think that's a really good one for 2 players.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it is quite hard. So if you've got a full screen, it's not so bad. But if sometimes 5 powers sound massive, or you just get confused as to which one's you, or perhaps you should avoid going in certain places because the other person, and then it puts you in a dangerous position, and
you sort of fall into that. This is my side, that's your side, and then when you cross, you go, and whereas
it distracts you when you need total focus. And that.
Yeah.
Which is obvious. Watching some of those videos, obviously not performing particularly well. That's my excuse anyway. But I think there's something in it. It's like sometimes when I'm talking, when we're playing, I find myself, I'll start sentences and there's a gap in between it because I'm and then continue afterwards. It must sound a bit strange, but
that's all right. It's not a problem. I think that's part of the fun of it as well, because I mean, we're not playing those. I mean, even though I don't think there's any there that even though some of those were my games, I don't think that it's ones that I'd played like just before we had played them. So it's either rusty or we hadn't played them. So I think that's fair enough to write it off as that. And sometimes it's nice to chat and talk about the shoot 'em up you're playing or other shoot 'em ups as you're playing as well. So it's sort of a bit more entertaining than watching us die every sort of 25 seconds or something. Especially your G Darius HD. But that's a brilliant game. I've really got into that since, but it's so well done.
Yeah, I'll put it out there with one of the better ones, definitely. It's great graphics, and I like the subject matter of the music. It's all really well done, that game. Again, it's been around a long time, but it still looks nice on the modern consoles, modern TVs.
Yeah.
Which is, a good thing for the original developers and the people that bought them, really. Otherwise, it can make it still look, without changing its identity.
So you've been playing Aero Fighters 2. What's the difference between 2 and 3?
Not a lot, really. I mean, I haven't played 3 for years. I bought it when it came out on the Neo Geo CD back in the 90s. Played it a fair bit. I seem to remember thinking I didn't quite like it as much as I thought ever. You think, it's going to be an improvement, but it wasn't a vast improvement graphically, or definitely not sonically, and I don't think I quite enjoyed it as much, or perhaps I was expecting too much. I don't know. I'll have to have another go on that as well.
Yeah.
But I think I've only got that on my Neo Geo. So
was the first one come out on Neo Geo as well?
No, Aero Fighters was an arcade game, not on the Neo. I don't know if it's and then it just went to SNES. But I don't think it ever. I don't know what system it used in the arcade originally. I've never played it. I've just heard about it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But I think it's still Video System, the same company. It's not a top game, but it's a good one.
Cool. I'll have to check the third one out. I've only got the second one.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Have you got it on your Neo Geo system?
Do you know what? It might be on there because it doesn't have everything. It's got most, but not everything. So I'll have to have a look, dust it off, and have a look. That's what I'll have to do. But I mean, I know what I'm like. I'm lazy, so I end up just getting it on the Switch or something when it's on sale. But I should play it properly.
Is it on?
Really.
I don't think it's on, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, the Hamster ported it as well. I think they didn't. I don't think they ported because I picked up Ninja Commando because I saw that you had it on your PS4. I don't know if that's Hamster or if that was. Yeah.
But yours is. I think mine is an older one. I don't think it's Hamster. It's another. It's called ADK Adamashi or some. I don't know what that means. Collection, but it's got Ninja Commandos, Ninja Combat, and one of the one-on-one fighting games, World Heroes, not World Heroes, but one of the ones done by ADK. But it's not as good as the port. It's quite tricky to negotiate your way around it. I don't understand. I went around and think, how the hell am I supposed to get onto the game? It's quite a lot of backwards and forwards in it. So I haven't played it out because the main reason I got it was because I hadn't got my Neo Geo system again by then. Plus, Karen always enjoyed playing that because you're walking up. She's been a few shoot 'em ups, but she really liked Raiden on the Jaguar, and she used to play Aero Fighters too. And yeah, she liked Ninja Commander. It's not, even though it's not really a run. It's halfway between a shoot 'em up and a run and gun, isn't it? Really. More like a walking shoot 'em up, really. It's not like got the freedom of movement you get in Shock Troopers and that. It's, you just walk up.
Yeah.
Like if you move to the left, you don't fire to the left. You just carry on firing up.
Yeah.
But it is quite entertaining.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The one thing I noticed is when you're going forwards, like you're saying, it's not like a run and gun. You can't go backwards again. It's scrolling as you go forwards, isn't it? And sort of the frame freezing wherever you stop.
You can do like a jump to the side, can't you, to avoid things, I think.
Oh, like
it's a jump.
flip.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few things. It's a long time since I've played it. It's not an amazing game, but it's got something about it. And it's got a look, which I quite like. ADK, they seem to have a style which worked really well at times, and other games like Ninja Combat are pretty awful. But yeah, it's like they never seem quite so good at animation as SNK or other companies. You know, like on their fighting games, some of them are really good, but the World Heroes, which is their biggest, no, we're going off subject here, the World Heroes series, which is probably their biggest first series, as in there's quite a few in there, but the animation wasn't as good. Well, some of the like Savage Rain, that played quite well. I think that's ADK. I think it is anyway.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's a few that they did other than the World Heroes fighting games. But yeah, but anyway, back to shoot 'em ups.
There's a couple of new, I say new. There's some ported games that are coming. Everything seems to be ported forwards at the moment, rather than a lot of new stuff that seems to be coming out, sequels, which on one side of the coin is nice, but on the other side of the coin is I'd like to see some new stuff come out as well.
Yeah, me too. It's nice to have both. Yeah, and we have had both in the past, but it seems doesn't seem to be a lot coming that I've seen. But what have you seen? You've mentioned a couple of emails, but
yeah, so there's a new Cotton game, but they're also porting Cotton 2, Cotton Boomerang, and Guardian Force, which is coming out first in September 30th, I think, which should be interesting. I know that they're doing. I mean, we've already mentioned this in the Shoot Your Sir issues, that they're adding a couple of characters and stuff, so I won't go in depth in that. There's two other things that I've read. There's a Razion EX or Razion EX that apparently was an indie game for the Neo Geo that they're porting over to the Switch, and they're doing physical copies of it. But it goes on, so they're going live with 700 units from the 15th of May pre-order, and then the 5th of June with another few hundred units. So I might order one to see what it's like, but I've never heard of that game previously.
How's it spelled?
Razion, so Razion or Razion EX.
Sounds like something from the 80s almost.
Yeah, it looks like a horizontal. It looks very much like something like
Thunderfall
or something, but yeah, but probably not quite as good. But we'll see, I guess, if I end up getting it. Hopefully, it's not like Cotton where it takes 6 months to sodding arrive. It's still not arrived, so it's might arrive by the time it comes out in the UK, because Cotton's reboot's about to come out in the UK, isn't it? But yes. Apparently 6 stages, 6 bosses, 7 sub-bosses, 3 game modes, and it's horizontal, so that'd be interesting. And the other one that's come out is that Dodonpachi Blissful Death DX, which is DOJ, is meant to be being ported to the Switch. But when I looked at that version, it's the phone version. I was like, okay, so they port it over to the phone and they're porting it. But what it is, it's not the full game like you would on a modern phone, I guess, because I don't really do mobile gaming. It's an old mobile game. It looks really shit. It's like, what's the point? If you're going to port something like that forward, especially if it's a cave game, port the full cave game.
Yeah, it's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't charge much for it.
No, something like 500 yen and £3.50 or something. It's like, but why? Why not just, if you've got the rights to port a Dodonpachi game, the series has got loads of good stuff.
It's probably for completists that haven't got that. They might want to get it. I don't know.
I just think that's a bit ridiculous. Anyway, so question for you: if you could take any one mechanic from a game and import it into another shmup, what would it be?
Well, actually, I quite like the mechanic of, which is in that G Darius game, but it's also in Trigger Heart Excelica on the Dreamcast, which is quite a nice horizontal, a vertical shoot 'em up. You could throw out like a line and pull things into you, a bit like on G Darius, but you were going up the screen.
Yeah.
I think it was full screen. So it's a long time since I played it. I'd like to have that, perhaps in. That's a very that game. I really liked it. It's very anime style, and I think you're playing like those sort of robot suited girls. I think exoskeletons, but they look like sort of just like a sexy suit on an anime girl.
What console was that on?
A Dreamcast. Trigger Heart Excelica. I had it when I got it. You got a big poster of it, which was nice. I looked at it once, put it away, probably got crinkles like you do. But I got a feeling that's available on the 360. I think it's available on some other consoles. I can't remember what it was.
I might have to have a look.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting that. It's enjoyable. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And what game would I put it in though?
So you capture it and you
pull it towards you and it sort of defends you. It's like a bit like a shield. I think that's what it was anyway. But yeah, that would be quite good in a game like Raiden, which is so completely different. It would be really interesting to get through some bits by just like tugging this to front and sort of bulldozing your way through a bit. I think it doesn't last forever, it probably takes damage and falls off. It's a while since I've played it, but it was a good technique in the game, because when I first played it, I didn't realise you could do that, And suddenly I pressed the button, boom, this thing comes out, yanks this great big thing that I don't know if you have to shoot them first or what, but anyway, I think you do. And it just yanked this thing, and you're sort of like protected by this ship that's about 5 times bigger than yours. Yeah. But yeah, well, not all the things you grabbed were that big. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that in a more conventional shoot 'em up. Yeah, less anime, let's put it that way. Not that I don't like anime, I do. But it would be an interesting thing to do,
Yeah, especially in
What about you? What would you?
Yeah, Raiden has some really difficult parts as well, doesn't it? All those Raiden games. Just grabbing something quickly, using it for a while as a temporary shield would be pretty cool. Yeah,
because you've got to, it's like anything, you've got to balance up the danger of doing that, not firing for a split second or a second of it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like in that Loot Master 1944, when we do that special attack. You have to hold down your button, you're not firing, you're just vulnerable, but once you do it, it's a great attack. So mostly you're going to charge up when there's not much going on. But every now and then, you should have put yourself in danger a bit by doing it.
Yeah.
Because you can see if something big's coming onto the screen, so let's get it.
Good risk-reward factor sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, what would you transfer?
There's a couple of things. That was, I suppose, that sort of, the idea of that sort of thing, or the same sort of thing that's in G Darius, in something like Death Smiles or Cotton, where you can grab one of the creatures and have one of the little creatures with you firing different things. That would be pretty cool. I kind of like the idea.
It'd be quite good in if you had like a walk along horizontal shoot 'em up. It's like if they grabbed hold of a person, like held them, like they do in a film, like fired past them and use them like a shield. That'd be
that'd be really
walk along
good.
Shooting instead of Streets of Rage fighting, just like walking along shooting and just grabbing hold of somebody. And eventually they take so many shots and just like disintegrate or something. You can make it a bit gory. It'd be quite funny.
That's a good. That'd be quite.
Yeah,
fun.
somebody do it. I remember it a couple of years ago on the Atari. I think it was on the Lynx. There, they had a little handheld. It was a really good shooter. I can never remember the name of it. It was a bit space agey, a bit science fictiony. But it was like you could see like room. You were like on split platform in a way. It was a really good shoot 'em up. But I was thinking, you don't really see many like horizontally walking shoot 'em ups. You got roboty ones when you're sort of mostly flying and you can jump.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the names of those. I've had a few of those, but I was thinking more like a human being walking along with guns, and done in a sort of Streets of Rage style rather than in a whizzing along like Contra or something like that. A little bit slower, a little bit. Most of those games you have to go really fast, don't you? Contra and stuff like that.
So sort of a Shock Troopers meets Streets of Rage 4 type thing.
Yeah, that'd be good. And you can grab the bastards. But I quite like it. Yeah, well, I don't want to go off tangent again. But yes.
It's all right.
It's quite funny in Streets of Rage 4, we can go into an area And like two of the people that you're against will be fighting each other because one will be a cop and one will be a criminal.
Oh.
So you can leave them to die, and then you can just sort of wade into them. But that'd be good. That'd be quite funny if you had that in a shoot 'em up, wouldn't it? Sort of attacking each other. Do you just leave them to it, or what? Wait until one's weakened. Yeah.
Definitely. I kind of like the idea of it's being done so often, though. You know, sort of the sort of what Dodonpachi doing is you have like a beam, so you switch between a normal spread shot and then a beam, something like that in a Blazing Star or some sort of horizontal 2D would be quite nice, because you always see them in verticals. You never see that. It's very rare you see them in horizontals.
No, you don't often see reflecting fire either. Bouncing fire. You know what I mean? Rebounding fire. You got that in what reminded me of that was that Amiga 5. There's different characters, but there's the main. You start with 2, and then you earn by completing the game some more characters. But there's a girl. Her benefit is the shot's not as powerful as the other one's an alien male, but his only goes about half the screen in length, and then that's as far as his. But hers goes full length, and one of her beam fire, it bounces, so you can like bounce off a thing to get something. So if you're going a bit and there's some terrain in the way between you and a creature, so it can't see you, you can sometimes bounce the thing so you can hit it before it can get. That'd be quite handy, but you don't see. I suppose you don't really see that many shoot 'em up platformy games that are like that. There's one I've got on the PS3. Sorry, the name's cut out of my head. It's got a really sort of, I can't remember the name now. But you can basically you can transform between a jet and a mech, walking robot. So and sometimes you need to do that to get through certain parts because it's platform. You can't reach it as a mech but also the firepower is very different between the two. So quite often you'll jump up in the air as a mech and then turn into the jet. It's very clever. Gosh, I should have thought about that one. But that's a good game because it's part shooter. It's not a traditional shooter, but it's a platform game. Yeah. Part a shooter as well. That's a really clever game. It's got a real sort of 80s sort of soundtrack to it, but it looks 16-bitty. It looks but nice 16-bit, not sort of scruffy pixelated. It's a bit pixelated, but it's got a good look to it.
I think I remember you telling me about this. Is this something like heavy something?
No, this is, I think it's one word, and it might begin with an X or a Z. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
But it's not Xenon or something like that. It's another anyway. How annoying. But yeah, probably got it on a list somewhere.
The helicopter shooter, you reviewed it in an early episode.
Under Defeat?
That's it. I noticed that on Japanese 360s over 100 quid, which is insane, but it's like 20 quid, 25 quid on the PAL version. But I might as well get it on PS3 because it's really cheap on PS3. But,
yeah, I've got it on PS3. It's good.
Yeah, maybe I should get it.
It's originally on Dream. I thought it was originally on Dreamcast, that game. Under Defeat. I had it on Dreamcast, and then I got it on the PS3. It was, and they both look really good. No, it's a really good game because you haven't got this 360 you've got on Zero Gunner 2. It's basically like about a 90-degree arc. So and again, you can either hold it so you strafe, or you can move. It got a very militaristic look about it. It's a really good-looking game. And I say when I did a review of that, I played through it. It still looks really good.
Yeah, I need to title. Pick it up on one. Under Defeat.
Yeah,
sounds nothing like what the game looked like as well. Because you think Under Defeat, is it going to be maybe an anime type? It's not.
Something's getting under your feet. Yeah. I honestly think when they brought up that title, they didn't realise that it sounded strange. Because they don't. A Japanese person wouldn't know that we would say under defeat.
It must be a literal translation, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not quite defeated, or what would I suppose the equivalent would be something like
under defeat is
relentless or something.
Yeah, but yeah, that's well worth getting.
I also like the idea of Raiden 5's line graph in any other shmup.
Yeah, I know you're all
It's
keen
that
on that.
score system. There's something about that score system that just made me want to keep beating my own score, and then seeing when you're better than that level's best score and stuff as you're playing. So it's like per section, it just goes up. You're like, right, oh, I'm actually in with a chance here, or you're not playing so well. And I just thought it was really well done. Like that in anything would just have me playing that game a lot longer.
Yeah, there's lots of, I mean, I haven't really given it any thought, but there's lots of little game playing variations that could be used, which aren't. And so I was just thinking, if you had a like the walk along shoot 'em up, I was thinking, what if one of the characters had a shield? And when they're bending down, the shield covers like not 80% of the body. When they're standing up, it's only 50%. Things like that, you know, it would be all sorts of little techniques. But that's not really a traditional shoot 'em up, is it? That's more of a walk along. There's many of those.
I think what I can't remember the name of the team that did it, but Rolling Gunner, what they've done with the overpowered, with the made it a twin stick shooter.
Yeah.
That game is on another level now. That's so good. But it's funny how changing the mechanics because the mechanics in that game were good. You'd have to move and then press fire. I suppose that's much more traditional to sort of change the direction of the barrel gun thing, wouldn't you? But now you use a twin stick. It's a lot faster, and sort of they've compensated. It's balanced well because you just have a complete onslaught of bullets and enemies, and you can just find a place, and it's just really well done. But it just shows by changing one of the main mechanics of the game that you can just become something else almost entirely. I mean, it still looks like Rolling Gunner. The levels are a bit different, but it still looks exactly like it. But it's what they did with the mechanics there were just so good. What about some of the scoring mechanics in some of the shmup games that you play? Is there anything that's slightly interesting? Because I mean, usually what's the one in Ketsui where you get all the closer you are to it, the higher the points are.
Yeah,
that's pretty
cool.
Oh,
you get a lot of them where if you let it shave you, if the firepower shaves you as it's coming along,
really?
Get powered up that way. Yeah, I can't remember which one. There's a few that do that.
Savaria Delta does that.
Also, Ikaruga did that. Yeah, it's a good way of getting points because reversing. I'm not doing that, but it actually works out quite well. I like to. You've got Bullet Soul, have you? Did you get Bullet Soul?
No, I want to get that. You brought that up before. It looked really good.
Yeah, because firepower turns into like ghost firepower, and you pass through that to get. I don't think it's get energy or points. I can't remember, but yeah, that's a good game. I can't remember who did that one. It's not Cave, is it? It's somebody else. It's not Cave, is it? No, it's.
Let's have a quick
look. I
look.
remember who did Bullet Soul, but yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
It looks amazing.
Well, I really liked Pink Sweets and Mochi Mochi Pulp, but you didn't.
I found them a bit tedious. I preferred Pink Sweets.
Yeah,
I thought that was.
It was the better of the two, yeah.
And Mochi Mochi Bolt looks better, but I thought Pink Sweets, or was it the other way around? I can't even remember now. I'm mixing them up. They're good games, but I just didn't gel with it at all, unfortunately. Bullet Soul.
And there was a Bullet Soul something else. I don't know if it was a sequel or just an improvement on it. I can't remember now, like a black label thing, but it wasn't.
5PB, apparently. Don't know who that is.
Name rings a bell, but yeah, worth getting. But I suppose it's going for silly money, is it?
It's about £130, I think, up.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I even saw it for 200. I think I'm mixing it up with something. But then I was looking at the a load of Saturn shooters now, and all the best ones are 200 quid. Batsugun and all these other ones, 200 quid. I'm like, I don't know if I can justify that without selling some other games first.
Yeah, there are some really good shoot 'em ups on the PS2, and they look good as well. Oh, PS2, the Saturn, I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the PS2 as well. But yeah, the Saturn was a good shoot 'em up. Blast Wind, that was pretty. It wasn't a good title. It wasn't a great game, but a good music. I enjoyed that. But I think we mentioned that before. But I guess that'd probably be going for like silly money now.
I mean, you have to give me a list of all the ones on PS2 as well. Maybe I'll have a look, see if they're a bit cheaper. But the other thing about it, I suppose it's worth getting now because they're only going to go up in price. And I have looked at, you sent me a list of games for the Saturn. and I looked at a bunch and they look really good. So it's like I'd like to play them
Yeah.
at some point if possible. So
Yeah, I probably will have a list of my PS2 shoot 'em ups, but most of the ones I had were actually UK. They were
really?
PAL games, but they brought a lot of them, as I've said before, they bring them out on some obscure label and give them a totally different name. So you have to try and find, some of them are the same name, and they're not, they're sometimes done cheaply, but they're still the same game, but they don't give it like, that's what was a good thing with the Japanese game, it's presented so well, even if we, just the packaging and everything. But some of the UK ones had the awful artwork, some of them, but still good games though. But yeah, Dragon Blaze and things like that was good. But yeah, there was a few on there. There was one called Steel Dragon and Steel Dragon X.
Rings a bell.
EX. Yeah, they were on the PS2. I think the EX was the better looking of the two. More modern looking at the time.
I have to have a look into that.
Yeah. The GameCube had a few decent shoot 'em ups on it. We have got one of those, I don't think, have we?
I don't have the cables for it. I've got the I do have a cube on the side somewhere, but
it didn't have a huge amount, but had a few.
Ah, that's interesting.
Star Soldier, that was quite a good one.
Are they imports or are they sort of
imports?
PAL?
Yeah, import ones. Yeah, I can't remember if I think I had a UK cube, but I had a disc. You can buy discs. Just do a swap disc and play it. Those little meters, didn't they? On the cube?
Yeah.
I thought that was an underrated console, actually, the Cube, or GameCube. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Controller's a bit wacky, but it did have some good games. Maybe the controller was solid though. I remember it being really.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. I can't remember it being particularly poor. And you had that little thing you could attach to the underneath and play Game Boy Advance games on it, and it goes through your telly.
Yes. They've done that for a long time, haven't they? Didn't the SNES have one for the original Game Boy? And then 64 had one for color and the original, because I suppose it's the same sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, they've always been pretty good for those extra things, Nintendo, I suppose. Yeah, there's a lot of really expensive, older retro import games that mostly on the set. I still need to get Dodonpachi as well, but there's so many on there. I suppose that sort of links into there's a lot of porting forwards. Is there any of the older games that you'd like ported forwards that they just don't seem to be touching at all?
Oh, that's a good one. There's a platform game called Astal. I'd really like to see that again. It was on what was it on now? I've forgotten. I think it was on Saturn. That was it. It was on Saturn. It was a really beautiful 2D walk along. I don't know what the character was. He was some sort of little bod, but he could puff up his chest and then blow, and it would blow things away and not as in kill, but literally push them away. But no, it was a really good game. A very atmospheric, good music, good. I must have really liked it because donkeys years ago I sold my Saturn, but I kept that game because one, I didn't think it'd be worth much. It was a Japanese version as well, and also I thought, I really like the game. Just having it, and eventually another Saturn came my way, so I was glad to have had it. But no, I haven't got a Saturn. I haven't got the game. But yeah, that'd be nice on the PS4 or the Switch. And it's really, really cool little game as well. I'm just trying to think of. I can't think of any like scrolling shoot 'em ups. There probably are ones that I can't bring to mind.
Maybe a lot of the Saturn ones then, because I don't seem to port many Saturn games.
Yeah, but it's remembering the names of some of them are so obscure. There was quite a few around at the time. I've never got, because they were, even then some of them were expensive, or once they sold out, they were really hard to get hold of. There was one called Precura Daikusen or something like that. It was a walk along sort of weird little shoot 'em up thing, but I could never get hold of it. It was like one of those games. There was another one, another game like that. Some of the treasure ones, it'd be nice to see them as well. Well, Radiant Silvergun's on the 360, isn't it? But that would be quite good on the 4. I know you didn't like it that much, but I think it's a good game. But anything by treasure really would be worth getting. But I say a lot of those old Saturn ones. Was it Wolfang or something like that? There was a lot of really good ones. Some I never actually managed to get hold of. Some I did. But
there's a lot of really obscure names that I noticed on that list you sent me that are really good. A Layer Section was one I remember, which I suppose is less obscure.
And again, sometimes you'd have the game available in the UK, but then but it was a different name. Even on, they did that on Saturn as well. And the I think it was the worst packaging ever, the Saturn, UK Saturn games. Those bloody boxes were awful. They were really bad for staying together. They looked tatty and horrible compared with just stick with the bloody CD dual case.
Yeah, they do look better. They just tarnish so easily, those Saturn cases over here.
Oh yeah, the UK ones are awful, aren't they?
They get ripped and bits of paint chips and they don't close. They just flap open.
And so many people just don't treat games like, it's almost like a game disc could be used as a coffee mug, a coaster or something. It's just like, bloody hell, One, you probably paid a few quid for that. And now you just treat the wisdom on the floor, and I never put a game on the floor, It's like, touch it so my hands aren't touching it, in the middle and on the edge. Put it straight back in the box.
Yeah.
Not fannying around with it, but yeah, that's people, isn't it? They don't seem to sort of value things sometimes.
Have you bought something recently that's like that, and the condition of the disc has just been a bit grim?
No, I haven't bought many second-hand games. I bought some 360 games when I got the console again, and most of them are either new or as new condition. So I know the place that I get it from, they do a sort of treatment on it, which seems to, even DVDs and that, I haven't really had any trouble with playing them back.
That's good.
And but no, because that's a worry about buying second hand, isn't it? Somebody done something to it.
Yeah, they used to show you the discs. I remember they used to. Here you go, you have a look, and okay, and they obviously you did a pandemic, so I suppose. But
yeah, well, if you're buying online, they can't do that, can you? You can send it back, but.
Yeah, I suppose when it's on eBay and stuff like that, I tend to take pictures of both sides of the disc. So you're, I suppose, unless you're buying a really cheap game, but if you're buying and
you have to get it in a reflecting mode so you can see it properly as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a difficult one. I've never sold a game I've only ever traded them in. I've never sold games online or anything like that, apart from when I sold my whole collection. But the only games that ever I had marks on were ones that I bought second hand. I really like to look after things. I think that's what I used to like about having, sort of collectible versions from Japan. Was there a bit of an art work of art in themselves, the packaging, the whole presentation. And in fact, you had a really nice bit of artwork in the booklet or an extra disc or, like a larger box or whatever. It's just really good.
Yeah.
And you will respect that, So, if you get something nice, you don't knock it around unless you're really up to it.
Like the limited edition Shikondo that we're giving away.
Yeah, I like your little thing you cellophane you put around it.
It came like that.
I must admit.
It came like it's barely used. I've not played because I've got the digital copy. That's not even. It's been opened, but I opened it from new. It did come with this cellophane, but it was completely wrapped cellophane. And it's got a little certificate in it. And it's got a little CD with the music on it, and the music's good on that game.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. I should have gone in for the competition myself, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'll do a review for the next one. See if I win. When I saw the pictures of it on your site, I thought, yeah, it looks all right. That.
Yeah, it's a lovely little thing. Have you downloaded the R-Type 2 demo yet?
No, I'm not going to bother.
No?
I'm not. It'll take off the pleasure of first getting it for me. I like it. Really like getting the game. If you manage to get a hard copy, obviously open it up, looking at the stuff. I just really like it when you first put it on and you get the intro. I've seen that all before half a dozen times. It'll take away the specialness. Yeah,
it's true.
And if you paid 40 quid or more for it, you want to get some buzz out of it, don't you?
And the demo is not a complete version of the game, so if it's got any bugs or issues or that might put people off because it's not necessarily what it's like when it comes out. I played the demo and it looks good. I noticed a lot of people that have bought the game on some consoles. I think on the Switch, the load time's bad or something like that. I've seen a few messages flag up. You'll probably get it on the PlayStation though.
Oh, well, yeah. PS4. If I do manage to. To be honest, I'm not feeling inclined to spend a fortune on games, but if I could pick one up for a reasonable price, I can.
Yeah.
I'd like to get I mean, there's some games that you don't mind paying silly money for. I know that's the sort of game. I think it looks amazing, but I'm not sure if I'll how far I'll get into it. It's a bit like Polestar, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've really got to put a lot of effort into it.
And how many of the 100 ships are you going to unlock?
And
all the different weapon types and whatnot.
Yeah, I must admit, a lot of that it doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather have an extra level, to be honest, or something like that, and extra ships, extra guns. Yeah, I suppose so. But
I like unlocking new sort of ships and things, but I don't like ones where it's mission based. I'd rather it's just like arcade style or a range, and you just go straight in and you play through it. And there are some of those that do have missions that I have enjoyed, but they're not quite as fun as some of the others. You just stick them in and go.
Yeah,
it's just not quite as fun. I mean, I do like Jamestown, but that's very much got that. Oh, you can buy and unlock a ship and the next level up and mission. It's sort of a stop-start in between the action. It's just a bit too much. I'd rather just keep going.
Yeah,
I don't mind the fade to black and then fading back in to say stage 2 or whatnot. But
yeah, I totally agree. That's the whole idea. That's why people like arcade games. They don't want to be, Some people love all that. They want to spend ages getting every bit of equipment and they know this level's coming up. I've got to have that. I've got to have this. I want it in that color. And no, I just want to. I want the game to do the thinking. I just want to enjoy it. It's an experience. So I don't mind it little. Sometimes I just shove little elements, like from an RPG or from a platform, whatever, and it really works. But once it goes too far away from what we would call an arcade style game, then for me it can get a bit tedious.
Yeah, definitely.
A good game should draw you in without having to give you a ton of detail. That's my view.
Yeah, definitely. There's one that I picked up recently called Sternwind. I don't know if it's Sternwind or Sternwind. There's one that came out.
Sternwind,
yeah, that's a really good game.
Yeah, and that was originally. Didn't that come on Dreamcast?
Yeah, I think I saw something about it being on Dreamcast.
Yeah, I think it's an indie game, isn't it? But a very good.
Yeah, nice, it looks really good on the Switch. It's I like the mechanic that you've got 3 types of shot, and then when you get hit, you lose one. So you're always worried about using the one you really like.
Yeah, I like. I always thought it's a little bit like. Have you seen the Soldner game, Soldner EX?
I haven't. No.
No, there's a game. I thought we'd mentioned it to each other. Or perhaps we were just talking about it. I think the only one I've got is on the PS3 again. It's Soldner, as in SOLDNER X. I think that's a German game. But yeah, that's pretty good sort of horizontal, quite enjoyable, good music. I just think like European people, usually developers never quite capture the Japanese way of doing things, which is fair enough. They do it their own way, but sometimes even that it's good, but it hasn't quite got the same excitement. So
it lacks a bit of charm.
Yeah, it's nicely detailed and it looks good, sounds good, and plays reasonably well. But it's not one that really grabbed my attention. I did quite enjoy it for a limited time.
Yeah, it's one I picked up called Space Warrior, and it was on sale for about £3. It looks amazing, looks really good, very similar to looking to R-Type. It's got this thing where it just auto-fires. I think I emailed you. It just auto-fires all the time, so you're not pressing you press a button to change the shot when you pick up a power-up. It's basically a shot change, and you've got it per button, which is quite interesting. But that whole I don't know if that's comes from mobile game or what, but it's automatically shooting without pressing a button, even though I'm maneuvering it around, feels like I'm not really controlling it. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's a bit too automatic. Yeah,
which is a shame because it looked really good and it was playing really well, but I just couldn't get over this really little thing. It probably wouldn't bug most people. It really bugged me that why are you because I'm holding down a button all the time to auto fire. What's the difference, I suppose? But
I used to feel a bit that way about auto fire. I used to think, well, part of the game is pressing it, and so I mean, it still gets some games where we have to do that. There are the odd games that I've got you can't get auto fire. Like, I don't mind. I don't suddenly feel my thumb feels weary. I suppose it'd be quite a good technique because if you could press really fast for a limited amount of time, then you go faster. You know, like you'd fire faster. Or it could if you did too much, it would overheat and slow down or something. You used to get that in mech games, didn't you? Mechs would overheat a lot.
Yeah.
So you'd have to watch what you did, manage it. Right? I remember there was a game came out on one of the Xboxes. I'm not sure if it's 360. It was a mech game, and they did this periphery, a controller, and it was about that big. Yeah, you can see both my hands. It was probably about 18-inch, 2 foot apart, wide, and had all sorts of controls just to control this big mech. You know, it was I can't remember what it was called now. I remember when it was like it was on in the offing. I was like, "Oh, that looks good," you know. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to enjoy that, you know. Thinking, no, press this button just to get it to stand up. Press this button to start moving forward, and then I just think it'd be really, I suppose
mech simulator.
Simulator, which is a bit like a train. Yeah, they've got these train simulation games. But,
and they always look really good because I tried one. We tried one on the YouTube channel ages ago before the pandemic. My God, that was the most frustrating and boring. It looks amazing. The graphics are fantastic, but it's literally simulating a train. So you right down to the last T's, you got to press all these different things just to turn the engine on or just to tell it you're going forwards. And then you can't figure out what the button is to go or what the lever is to, it was just took some of the fun away from it. So I just want to have the train go forwards and enjoy.
I should do like a model train set. We could build a model train set and watching it run around or something. A bit like theme park or something like that, but with trains.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like if you build a diorama with you, like people like model train modelers do. You know, if you could do that virtually, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. All the train things I've ever seen are simulations where you know, you're looking out the front window of the train and but not that I've ever bought one because I know it just drives me nuts.
Someone needs to come out with a SHMUP where you're on trains and you're shooting. So it's just you're controlling the trains and maybe there's 6 lines and you have to change at certain points to avoid certain kinds of bullets and things.
Yeah. Well, I always had this idea if you could have like you're going down not a fast flowing river, slow flowing river, and you're on a raft. And you've got like 4 fire points, forward, backwards, sideways, and left and right. And each button on your 4 operates, and you can't find more than one at once. And then, and also you could have that'd be quite entertaining for like bumping off. You could have creatures, and also you could have another thing where you press the button like perhaps for the back one, you could press the button, hold it down. So say it comes out a bit like an oil can, and then when you release it, the oil can explodes. So you know, so you're going along, you drop it off, and then when the creature gets near, you take your finger. But it'd be quite complicated because you have to get it so you could do that and not get killed by something from them all the time. But yeah, that would be wouldn't be a traditional shoot 'em up, but it'd be something like it because you'd be scrolling, just not too quickly. It'd be nice to just have a little bit of it. I mean, 99% of shoot 'em ups we've played before, haven't we? You know, we've played something very similar to it before.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine, but it'd be nice. I do like every now and then you get a little bit of innovation. It really can make a difference. It could be innovation which doesn't reprove it, but every now and then, you think, oh, that's really, I really enjoyed that. It's quite a small thing as well. So yeah, I think these games developers could take the shoot 'em up, to different directions. Try different ideas. But trouble is, your average shoot 'em up fan, so it seems to me, I don't know them all, obviously, is to be like they have been in the 80s and 90s. And but that's well catered for. But why not have something that's similar to that?
Yeah.
But they've just gone off at a tangent. I mean, we do get games like that. Something that Treasure might have done, But all Treasure did was like they added the innovation of having 2 different shot types, and, like Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga. They are hard, but it was a bit of an innovation. I'm sure if they carried on, Treasure, they could have innovated even more.
Yeah.
But I still think, in general, there's a lack of innovation.
I think you're right. There's especially at the moment, there's so many aircraft-based shmups everywhere. There's not so many. I know we talk about Cave all the time, so I'm trying not to talk about them too much. I know their biggest series is Dodonpachi, but so many different other things like Death Smiles, Esperade, Esgaluda, Mushihime-sama, where it's just completely different themes. You don't see so much of that anymore.
No, it's always like jets or rockets or. I suppose sometimes you've got like these people on little jet skis or jet bikes, which is quite amusing. No, I mean, I think most people want it to. I can imagine the average shoot 'em up fan doesn't want to be playing something like shoot 'em ups. I know you quite like shoot 'em ups. I like sinister shoot 'em ups. They're a bit weird, like Death Smiles and that. It's got a slightly cute element to it, but it's also sinister and Halloweeny and weird. I don't particularly want to, if I was going up the screen, sort of walking, I wouldn't want to be playing some little fairy. But I'd rather play something that was a bit.
Well, like Esgaluda.
Yeah, something that's in general. We tend to prefer something like some bloke with a big gun or some sort of modern armor, like a tank or whatever. That's what we tend to prefer to idle.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why the only sort of shoot-ups I can't stand, you don't see so much, are these ones, I was trying to think, they were quite popular in the Saturn days. And they were like, it's a penguin or something, and you get all these like ridiculous like fun fairy things coming down at you. I'm not sure there was a couple that were really popular. Pop and Bee or Pop Twin Bee or Twin Bee, something like that.
Yeah, I've played. Yeah, I think I reviewed one.
I tried playing a couple of those back in the day. I couldn't stick them. To me, a shoot 'em up's got to sound powerful. I hate sort of pew pew or stupid sounds when they hit something. I mean, back in the 8-bit days, they didn't have the sound. The early consoles didn't have the sound thing to do that, but from sort of like better 16-bit onwards, you could get a good sound. And to me, if you're going for comedy, in fact, I mean, I like wacky. Don't get me wrong, like anime wacky can be great fun, but it's got to still be powerful. It's still got to pack a punch. That's my view. I don't want to shoot 'em up, which is something you might see on a kid's play school or something like that. That's my view.
It'd be nice to see a sort of a modern take on something like Ninja Commando or even Shock Troopers or something. It's just a more modern look to it, but just having it in a different. I mean, that's the same thing. You're just running around with a gun, but it's with people. I know it's Pocky and Rocky's coming out. That looks interesting, but yeah, I mean, I suppose we've had a Cotton recently, but it's mostly just aircraft based, and I don't have a problem with that at all because I play them all the time. But it's just nice to have something different.
Well, it's just being lazy as well. So you just repeat something and give it some slightly smarter graphics. That's okay. And most of the people that read our magazine or whatever will like that sort of thing. But it would be nice to have a little bit more choice. What you and I might look at it and think, that's fucking I don't want that, But at least I have a
something like the evil Santa from Death Smiles 2. You're him, and you're taking on everything, and that would be quite interesting. On the take where you're not the one you're not the one that's saving everything. You're the one that's trying to destroy everything. Would be quite interesting.
That reminds me of Booger Man. Do you remember Booger Man on the Mega Drive?
No.
It was like a platform game, but it used to flick what we call bogies. And the fart. That was his two weapons, farting and flicking these green snot things. Not that I particularly want to see that, but there's just all sorts of
humour to it.
I think if you got some clever people just sitting down and thinking, well, this is the sort of format we're going to use. What couple of innovations can we do to make ours different from the others? God, it can't be that hard. It's like anything. It's like music, isn't it? How many people just churn out the same old junk? Copy other people and every now and then you get somebody that tries a bit of innovation and it works.
I think that's why I enjoyed the King of Fighters Sky Stage. It's a traditional shooter, but having just the look of all the King of Fighters characters just made it feel different and gave it an extra element. So you could do that with so many different anime things. You could do that with Gundam, you could do that with Dragon Ball Z, just where it's a shmup, but you're using different anime things rather than aircrafts, would just be so much more interesting, especially if it was Gundam.
What about if you had a weapon, you fired it, it hit the opponent, it made them lose control and then explode?
Yeah.
So it hit them, it would be
And you'd
more
have to avoid
interesting.
them. Have to avoid them,
Yeah,
otherwise they hit you and
exactly.
you blow
Yeah,
up.
there'd still be an element of danger from it, and you don't want to be near them when they do blow up.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you had a choice of that weapon, all sorts of things, just little things like that. I mean, if I sat down and we thought about it, I'm sure we could come up with half a dozen ideas.
Mm.
But it doesn't seem at the moment they're either producing old ones, which I'm very grateful for, particularly if I like the old one, or I haven't played it and I've never managed to track it down on the Saturn or whatever. I'd be grateful for that, and I'd love to see all the old shoot 'em ups. But I still think they are coming out with some stuff, but it's all just like glammed up versions. Really, there's not a lot of innovation. But what can you do? I suppose it's a format based on tradition, and they're frightened to move away from it, aren't they?
Yeah. It's a shame. It'd be nice to see a lot more different. I mean, I suppose that's why Shikondo was so nice to. That was just so different, and the music was good. But I mean, I suppose
especially that collector's Switch version.
Yeah, that's it that you can write in and get your review. Nice plug. But yeah, I mean, it looked different as well, and with the bosses I suppose it's not original in a game, but it would you'd have to beat the first stage boss, and then it would just transform into this really creepy. The music would change, and the patterns would become really intense, and the artwork was different. The artwork's so different in that. It's really nice. So just more stuff like that. I'd love them to make a sequel, or another game, even if it's not a sequel to Shikondo. But I don't know why they didn't add a couple more characters to that game and an extra level and an update or a DLC. I'd have bought it, but just to give it a different, more playability. And I mean, it's got a lot of playability as it is, but sometimes it'd be nice to unlock an extra character or something.
I agree. It's just that sort of really loud screech you get when they go from one type of, from like a slightly attractive female to this bloody evil monster thing hanging upside down. It's just spider-like looking and things like that. Yeah,
the details in the environments is amazing as well. Some of them where it's 2 or 3 different parts, but I know that again, it's not original to have 2 or 3 different layers. But just the detail,
scrolling.
Yeah. It just looks really nice. I thought it was really well. More stuff like that, I'd love. Just be brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, more of the same plus something a bit extra as well. I just think there's no excuse for not any innovation.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's
more robots
in this country, and even exactly. But even more so in Japan, there's still lots of. Why don't they just think? Well, we can produce another Dodonpachi, or we can produce another Raiden. But why don't we sort of do that? And let's have this one. Right, you lot go over there and think of some things that's never been in a shoot 'em up, or it has been in one shoot 'em up. Let's improve on that idea and take it to a different level. I'm sure they could. It's not that difficult, is it? It seems to be not being done much at the moment.
I'd like to see more crossovers as well. I know that we've seen a few recently. Side Battler in Savaria and stuff. That was really well done. But it'd just be nice to see some sort of crossover like that. We've got characters. I know even Battle Garega had a few dragons and things like that in it, which is from I don't know if it was Dragon Blaze or something. There was a crossover from
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was from something else. It wasn't Dragon Blaze, but there was a dragon character and things like that.
Yeah.
Just made it really interesting. I'd love to see more crossovers. If you are going to produce a new Raiden game, have some stuff from R-Type, or have some sort of aircrafts from other different. I know there's a licensing thing to do with that as well, but it'd just be nice to see. Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So instead of just making up 3 different characters, one of them is a slightly different color from the other one, and it has a straight spread instead of a wide spread. Give me a different character.
Has that black and white science fiction game come out yet?
No, it's not yet. Squadron 51, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Or Squadron 51, I think.
Yeah, that was a bit of fun.
It does. It looks really good. I really want to get that. But
a 2D version of Earth Defense Force, which it was originally about. I've never seen it. Yeah, when Earth Defense Force, imagine that as a 2D shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
Be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be good.
And especially as you got all the different characters in the Earth Defense Force. You've got Rangers, which is what I always play. Or you've got those flying women, or you've got heavy armors. It could be quite good as a 2D. I think it did originally. I think the original Earth Defense Force was on the SNES or something, and it was. I've never seen it. I have to look it
It'd
up
be
on
interesting
YouTube.
to have a look at that. Yeah.
But yeah, but can you
Even
imagine if actually,
isometric could be quite interesting.
yeah, isometric would be good. What, scrolling or free moving, free roaming?
I suppose free roaming if it's Earth Defense Force, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. I quite like the idea of having it slowly scrolling, and then
Keep it.
imagine like a whole sort of thing of jumping spiders and ants. But yeah, it could be good, as well as the spaceships.
It keeps it different from what it's branched off from as well. If it was too close to that, it's like you might as well just made another one of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's ways you could deal with it. I mean, there's an amazing amount of weapons in the Earth Defense Force games as well. You know, like as you pick up weapons, you get a huge list of. You don't have to play it for long, and you've got a massive choice of weapons. But I have to be honest, the way we play it is we pretty much use the same weapons every time.
Yeah.
Because the other ones just don't work, or they don't work very well. You know.
Yeah.
And some of them, like, it's fun to try them out, but then if it's a hard level, you wish you hadn't because you're stuck. You know.
I love the timing of a bazooka. You see something jump across and just timing a bazooka where it just bang, just in the air. It just looks amazing.
I mean, we've been playing it a lot recently. I still love that. I still get a buzz out of it. See in the distance a whole mass of like 100 ants, and you just fire a bazooka into it, and about 5 or 6 of them fly into the air. But yeah, my second favourite thing is some of the ants. It takes 2 bazooka shots to kill them. So you hit them, they fly up in there, and then you get them while they're in the air. That's good fun. But yeah, you could possibly do that in 2D. I don't know.
I think if you were creative with what you did, it could easily be done. I can't see why they couldn't do something like that.
Definitely.
I suppose it would look like I suppose it would look like a scrolling run and gun type thing, wouldn't it?
I tell you what, yeah, it would. What I don't like in going off subject on 2D shoot 'em ups, it's too much flashing, and you see a lot of flash. When I was playing Aerofighters 2, there's a lot of them, the bosses, when they start getting damaged, they're like flashing on and on bright.
Oh yeah.
And I find that a bit, because I've got a big telly, and I just find it a bit too much. But I don't like that. And I'm sure somebody that's prone to epilepsy or whatever, migraines or whatever, would really hate it, you know. But I don't like that too much. But I must have, when I play Earth Defense Force, which is a 3D into the screen free roaming, I find that it tires my eyes out more than playing an ordinary shooter. You know, I find like we usually do about 6 levels at a time. So we play for about a lot of them that takes, and then half an hour or whatever. And at the end of it, like sometimes if I go down and make a brew, I sort of still almost getting that aftershock to the pictures. It's weird. It's not like that bad, but if you close your eyes sometimes, you can still see the bloody bit. You still see these fucking ants or whatever, coming at you. It's
waking
weird.
up in the middle of the night. Ugh.
Like I wouldn't play them late at night because it's not good for your head, is it, to go to sleep with that in it? But
definitely be really hard to sleep.
But I don't tend to get that with shoot 'em ups. I do remember how what we're talking about. Darius Gaiden, which is my favourite Darius game, really.
Yeah.
Apart from G Darius, which is also up there. God, that was really eye popping. We used to have the old big old cathode ray TV. Sitting probably a bit closer than you should. God, that was really eye popping. It's just amazing colours and just things blowing. That was one of the few sort of 2D games. That's almost too much for me.
Have you got the collection with that one in? The arcade collection?
Cosmic. Is it Cosmic Collection?
Yeah, there's arcade and there's console. It's in the arcade one. I've got so good, that game. You're right, it's really colourful. Again, I wouldn't know what it was like on the original. But it does look so good.
Yeah, no, I haven't got that yet. But it's something I'll look out for, I think. Because a lot of those, you see the other ones, they just don't look anywhere near as good. But I think Darius Gate, G Darius looks good. And obviously, that new one, Darius Burst, something Chronicles.
Oh yeah, it's like a modern thin arcade.
There's a new version of that coming out.
Oh, is there?
A new version of Darius Burst. Yeah, it's called something else, Darius Burst, and then a different title.
I saw one on one of the, it might be in the US store. That's interesting.
So yeah, that's coming out. That could be
I
worth getting.
presumed it was the same thing.
Oh, I must admit, I haven't given that game as much attention as it deserves, because you get so many games coming in. Not so much recently. We don't seem to be getting so much, but we had it's been a stage where I was getting one game after another. Some get a bit left behind. Not because they're not good. It's just you just get distracted, don't you?
Yeah, and it's hard to appreciate too many. I mean, I play several one after the other, but it's hard to appreciate when they just come out and you got three of them. And one of them is a bigger game. It's harder to appreciate some of the smaller ones.
No, I think it's if you've got the patience, is to buy one and then wait a couple of weeks and buy the other if you can. But
they come on sale a lot as well. The digital ones, anyway. I suppose physical is a different story, but I've noticed a lot of the shmups on the Switch store just come on sale every now and again. If you keep them in your wish list and just look at your wish list once in a blue moon, I think you even get emails saying, "Oh, it's on for sale." I'm like, oh, "Okay, better go check that out."
are there any more things on the agenda?
No, just anything off topic. If you want to talk about guitars or anything.
We've been off topic a bit, haven't we? Really.
So you've left the band. Does that mean you're looking at changing up some of your gear?
Possibly, but as you know, it's a bit of a compulsion. So I'm trying not to be stupid. But I'm going to sell the Katana and keep the orange because it's a better amp all round. It hasn't got all the facilities of Katana, but so if I'm not playing out with a guitar, it's no point having two amps. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I might sell one of my guitars, but it won't be the. It'd be the John Petruski if I did sell one. I won't. I'll keep the other one. But no, I'm keeping an eye out for something else to do as well. Now I've got the time. Just being an older person, it's not so easy to find things you want to do. There's a chance I might do something for a Manchester radio thing.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's coming off or not, but two of the bands that I'm in, one of them, I don't know what the other one does, but they've been doing. It's like Manchester something radio. It's more of an internet radio than I think. I don't know if I don't think it broadcasts on, but anyway, they do like a blues hour or something like that. And I think I said, "Oh, Graham could do one on surf music," And I said, "Yeah, I'll do that for a laugh." So he's giving me details to the guy that runs them at the station and see what happens.
Sounds good.
Back to him. Yeah, it'd be something to do. I won't get paid, but there you go. But it'd be something to do. But my initial thought was, that'd just be a lot of effort for no money. But it'd be good to spread the word. There's a lot of people still don't know what it is and that. So I'd be interested if it got a few more fans. It'd be good.
Definitely. It's a lot more interesting as a genre than people think as well. I had a couple of T-shirts made because I needed some new clothes. And I'm fed up with just buying. I had one with SHMUP written on it.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Front. And on the back, it's got a definition. I won't turn around. I'll knock half the stuff over. But it's got a definition of what SHMUP is. And then behind me, the Shoot Yourself podcast one.
Oh, very nice.
I was like, why not? I was like, where my own one's up for? Yeah.
Do you wear them to work?
No, I can't wear branded stuff to work. Yeah, otherwise I would.
You can wear the SHMUP one, though.
Yes, I am, because if I work from home, if it's on a day I work from home, then yes, I wear it to work.
Cool.
Otherwise, no. It's
Anyway, I suppose better think about knocking it on head.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks everyone for joining us. Check us out on YouTube, on Podbean, slysr.com/shoot-u-sir. Enter our competition to get your review in Shoot Yourself's July issue and to potentially win Shikondo on Nintendo Switch limited edition.
Good.
Yeah. Good music, did you say? Good visuals, did you say?
Yeah. Wacky.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us, Graham. And we'll see you next time.
Tatty bye.
Bye.